So, educational games, they are very important. Gamification is a very powerful mechanism to help people do things, to help people, give people motivation and things like that. It's particularly important for those of us who are neurodivergent, as the common phrase is, because often one of the mechanisms in sort of neurodivergent behavior is damage to the reward centers of the brain. When a neurotypical person does something and accomplishes his task, he gets a little dopamine reward. And that is why he is then motivated the next time to focus onto a task and to complete it. Often a neurodivergent person does not have a quite correctly working bit of the brain that manages these rewards for tasks, which is why we get easily distracted, because our brain has not been conditioned into going, completing this task is very important, here is a reward for it. We just get, ooh, we're going to do all these different tasks and maybe one of them will give us a reward, and that's why we hyper focus on things that do give us rewards and are unable to focus on things that don't give us rewards, because that bit of the brain doesn't functionally give us a reward. Gamification can often help to give a reward even when accomplishing the task itself does not sufficiently reward us. So that's why gamification in general and educational games in particular are such a powerful driver that I feel is not very well met. We're not good at making educational games. And I believe the specific reason why is that the priorities are wrong. People think, I'm going to make an educational game. Here is the education that I would need to do it, and then I will build a game around it. And that is exactly wrong. That is the wrong way to do it. Bad developer, bad. What you need to do is make a good game first. You need to go, right, I'm going to make a game, sit down, make a game that is fun to play, and then go, how am I going to put education into this game? Because when someone comes to play an educational game, they are coming to play an educational game. They want a game. They want a good game that will make them enjoy playing it and give them that dopamine reward. And then if education or whatever else the game is supposed to be comes along and happens while you're playing the game, that is the win. That is the bonus. But it has to be a good game first. And far too many people making educational games are way too focused on the education because they are educators. They need to work with someone who is good at making a game first, taken a good existing game, and then put education into it. And that is my rant about educational games. And the reason I'm talking about it is that in my feed today I found this game, which caught my attention because it's trying to teach us Japanese, and Japanese is something that I'm trying to learn. Anyway, let us talk about this game. So this is Kana Match. It's Learn Japanese. It is a match 3 game using Japanese characters. So what we are now left to contend with is teaching an English speaking person a completely different writing style and a completely different language that works in weird and different ways. Unfortunately, this game is just a prototype stage. This is someone who is obviously trying to teach Japanese. He has a textbook called Japanese available on Amazon. I haven't really looked at it. I don't have the budget to go and buy a book. So, I'm going to rely on his game for the moment. He did say it's only a prototype. He created the game. He says that the often chaotic and random nature of a match 3 puzzle made it less than ideal for learning, which is kind of what I'm talking about. He was trying to create this game through education first and gameplay second, and that's not always the best way to do it. You need to create a good game first. He started with a good game. Match 3 is a fun game that a lot of people play almost obsessively. I think in this case his conversion to a learning experience isn't quite right, and we'll talk about that in the critique section. But we need to remember the context that I'm pointing out, that this is very much a prototype. It's a game in like pre-alpha state. And I think it's in pretty good quality for that. And I would like to see this taken further, which is why I'm showcasing it today. So let's jump in and look at the gameplay. We can run the game. This works both in Firefox and Chrome, so it seems to be pretty comfortable and stable. Whatever you are, it's there. And if you're looking for a match 3 game, this is a good one. We can maximize the screen. You can hear the music. I'm hoping that the music doesn't cause issues in in YouTube, well, we shall see. Anyway, there's a credits page, which is credits done wrongly. Don't do this scrolling credits thing at the beginning of your game on a credits tab. Just put the credits on the screen. Nobody wants to see this, and it's not going to make people happy that they clicked on this button. Nate from Hurt Record, I hope you're okay with your music appearing in a Japanese in a YouTube video. Then there's a More Games button that opens the Califa Games website, but we won't click on that. Instead, we will click on Play, and we have quite a good little tutorial, which it is not deciding to show us, but because I've already played this. But the basic idea is that you have the list of characters that you can then match 3 in the usual way, like so, and it explodes and drops down, and you get points for it. Actually, you don't get points for that. You get points for matching the word that he has presented. So we have all these Japanese characters, and then we have the word of the session, in this case, kutsu, shu. And what we need to try and do is match 3 of the character that is highlighted. So if we match the ku of kutsu, he says ku, we get some points for it, and it then moves over to the second character of the word, which is tsu. But we don't have the ability to match tsu anyway, so we can blow up some words, and hopefully a tsu arrives at some point, which is not yet. I'm about to run out of time because I've been talking about yeah. Oh, there we go. We got it, and we got some extra time and some more points for getting it. And then there is a second word, and each game only sort of gives us 2 words. So in this case, it would be kutsu and hiru, which would be shu and noon accordingly. So yeah, as we complete the words of the session, so now it's a new session, so new words. Toi, we got thu, we got to, and we got i. So we get the word, we get a little bit of extra time. You can see the water in the background as our time limit running out. We know it's water because there's koi in it. We've got oshu, which we often see used in ashi, which was the concept of a game I just did recently. Ashi or asu is push. Ashi is that which you're pushing, which is the person that you're supporting in like a band or something like that. So we did and then su, which is also commonly seen in something like sushi. Anyway, so we got that word, and then it's back to toi, and so on. And that is the basic gameplay. You're given 2 words, you need to find them in the match 3. As you find them, you get a bit more time, and you go through until your time has run out, which we'll do in a moment, and then you are given a score for it. And that is your match 3 gameplay, and it is a very comfortable and easy way to play, quite enjoyable. You can ignore sort of the arrows because there's like a tour right there. It's just a hint for going. So yeah, then you're given a score, you're given the amount of time you survived, and that's it. And that's the gameplay. So if you are here to see the gameplay, thank you for watching. Come and give this game a little go. Come and give the developer some love. Hopefully we can convince him to work more on the game and give us more fun Japanese learning experience to, well, experience. So yeah, so if you're just seeing the gameplay, if you're leaving now, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the Patreon if you're interested in joining the community. There will be a Discord channel going up probably today. I will post in the sort of community chat on YouTube about the Discord link, and put the link in sort of future videos. I haven't quite got it up and running yet, so I'm not doing it now, but watch out for that. So yeah, thank you for watching. See you in the next video. If you are here for the critique, however, we have a fair bit of critique to give. Again, bearing in mind that this is a prototype, it's a pre-alpha. I'm not trying to knock this game down or harass it or barrage it in any way. I'm saying this is what I think should be changed to take this game to the next level, based on my experiences having played games and enjoyed games and been involved in the sort of online entertainment software development network for a couple of decades. That's where I'm talking from. So, firstly, the UI. My usual complaint: there are no sound controls or any quality of life controls, which is to be expected in a prototype game, but I think it is something that's quite important. Let the player turn the music off if they don't like the music, which I would have liked to have done because I'm worried about it for the YouTube video. As an example, while we are talking about the sounds, The music is absolutely lovely. I absolutely love the fact that you say the character when we have gotten the right character for the words. I think that's very important, very clever, very well done for doing that. We're going to do mu and here and ri. There. So that is good. I think you are missing sounds, and that there should be like a or something when the when you break the when the characters explode or whatever. I think that should be a very significant sound to get that reward mechanism going, especially for an educational game. Don't forget to trigger those dopamine rewards, because that is what makes a good educational game powerful, and that's what makes it keep the players playing, because that what makes it a good game. You need to trigger those dopamine rewards. Sound is an incredibly powerful way to do that. So make like a deep bass boom or something as you break the match 3, as the match 3 explodes, and then have your voice saying the name of the character if you've triggered the character in the word. So sounds, you need more gameplay sounds, and you need to be able to tone the music down or get rid of it if the player wants to turn it off. So that's the sound critique there. Artwork, the font is stunning. I absolutely love this font. I think it's very easy to read, very, very pretty looking. I love the koi in the background. But yeah, I think it looks really, really good. I think it's very easy to look at. Remembering, of course, that the player is unfamiliar with these characters. If this is reaching its target audience, he's not going to be able to easily understand what is going on here. So the fact that these are nice, clean, colorful, useful characters is great. I do have a slight issue with this red. For some reason, it might just be personally me, but my eyes kind of move away from it. They don't like looking at the red. So I tend to, when I'm looking for the character, if the character's in the red, I just don't see it, because my eyes skip over the red blocks. So maybe consider a lighter red or something like that, or maybe that's just me being weird. I don't know. Otherwise, yeah, I love the art. I know that there are sort of art asset things like that. So when I do line something up, there's this explosion in the background, like the Japanese flag or whatever. I think that might be a little cheap. Maybe instead of that, just have like sparkles that are the same every time. I know you've tried to give different things. I don't think that's necessary. Just have sparkles. Worry more about the sound behind the thing exploding it than the visual effect. Sparkles will be sufficient. It doesn't need to be a bunch of I'm guessing sort of assets you found online or whatever, or art assets of any sort. That's really it in terms of the art. Which brings us to the gameplay. And I'm going to say that what I don't like here in the gameplay is the time limit. I don't think time limits are a good idea in a match 3 game. I think it takes away from the match 3 experience. Match 3 is often a relaxing experience. It's something that you can just play slowly and carefully without putting much thought into it. You don't need to bend your brains for match 3. There shouldn't be a rush. It should be. My suggestion would be to have 10 words down the side. I saw that you have like 650 words or something like that in the game, which is incredible. It's absolutely fantastic. Just have 10 words down the side. Have the player match those words, each one in a row, and then that ends the session. So don't make it a time limit. Make it achieving the goal, so the person can sit there slowly and look at it and get those words. And then the shorter amount of time, if they're worried about chasing a time limit, is there because you have a timer in the corner saying this is how long you're taking. So don't count down, count up, and let the players who care about the time limit play towards the time limit, and the ones who don't need to, because it's not, the game mechanism is not about the time limit. That would be the big change that I would make. Don't worry about the points score. Nobody cares about points. Just make it, they can play for the time limits, or they can play just to accomplish the game and have that little bit of enjoyment of accomplishing it. And like I said, the sounds triggering that dopamine rush. That would be my recommendation for how to make it a really good game. So yeah, so that would be the change I would make. And again, remember, focus first on what makes a good match 3 game, and then worry about getting educational elements into it. That should be the way around. It should be going to develop educational games. And if you want to make different, more educational games, just remember that. Any developers who are watching this, remember, make a game first, make it educational second. Even if what you want to do is put education into a game, you need the game first. So yeah, that is my gameplay suggested change. Get rid of the time limit, turn it into sort of a goal accomplishment session, and just put a timer in the corner for people who care about trying to do it faster. Get rid of the points. You can maybe track the number of sessions that they play in their cookies, but don't focus on points as a gameplay accomplishment, because that's very old school. It's a little too retro, and it's not a good retro. Nobody cares. So that doesn't help. And then the final bit of critique is the immersion elements. Now, I am normally strongly in favor of putting storyline and stuff like that into the background of a game. I think it drastically deepens the game for fairly little effort. It's not hard to write storyline and context and story into a game. With a little bit of thinking, a little bit of imagination, it's not that difficult a proposal. And I think it really does deepen a game and add a lot of significance to it. People like stepping into the lore of the game, firstly, and secondly, and probably more importantly, people want a flag to rally behind. They want motivation to care about the game, to care about the outcome, to care about the prospects. There's a strong dopamine release in saving the day, or whatever it is, or accomplishing whatever goal the game sets. And it's important to have a deeper, well-written goal that is that the player is working towards. However, with my strong support for that, educational games are a little bit different. While I'm saying make the game first, make it a fun game first, don't let the gameplay get in the way of the education. And a strong storyline can do it. If the player spends 90% of his time working through the storyline and only 10% of the time being exposed to the educational elements, the game is not going to have much educational effect. So you can consider putting storyline in, you can put it there, but don't let the storyline be something that the player can choose to discover through side elements. Don't make it, and I think that's true for non-educational games as well. Like in something like Skyrim, you can, that's an RPG game. The storyline is a strong element there, but you can go and do quests. You can go and just accomplish a quest. You don't really care about what the storyline is around those quests. You can find it in books and things like that, and talking to people with extra educational, conversational elements. But it's not something you need to play and enjoy the game. And that is the best kind of storyline, where it's there and it's full and it's rich and it gives a lot of motivation thing to it. But for players who are not interested in the storyline, it's not something that is jammed into their face. And I think that's increasingly important for educational games, where the thing that should be pushed into their face are the educational elements once it is a good game, and then put the storyline around that and make it something they can seek out if they want to, but do not need in order to understand what's going on and to play the game. So yeah, immersion, important, but not as important as the educational element, which is not as important as just a fun game to play, fun game mechanisms, fun game experience. And that's today's logic, today's critique. Caliphate Games, please continue to work on this game and to make more educational games, because this is well done. And to anybody else who is still here, come and play the game, come and give the dev some love. Link is in the description. And thank you guys for watching. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Goodbye.